Hi everybody, Tex-Mex here. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today we're taking a look at the SIG P365 versus the Springfield Hellcat. Now I know this video is probably 3 to 4 years later than it should be, but this is my first opportunity to get my hands on a Hellcat and try it out compared to the P365. This Hellcat belongs to a friend of mine who is visiting me here. We're out here camping for a few nights, and even though it's a windy, misty morning, I'm gonna try to get this video done because unfortunately he'll be leaving back to Dallas soon, and I wanted to have a chance to compare these two fine pistols. Now obviously the SIG P365 has lots of models now, like the XL and many others, and I'm pretty certain that's true for the Springfield Hellcat as well. This one in particular is just the basic standard model. It's a micro compact 9mm. Well, they both basically are. They are both striker fired with stainless steel slides. Now the finish is a little bit different. SIGs tend to have a nitron finish, while the Hellcats tend to have a Cerakote finish. But what I'll do is I'll put up the size and weight information comparing these two pistols and some other specs on them on the screen right now. I'll put the SIG over here and the Hellcat over here on the right. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to shoot both of these. I'm going to compare their triggers a little bit, their weight, the trigger reset. You know, the sights, obviously sights can come different on different models. There are even some models that don't come with any sights due to them having cutouts for red dots or RMR, so they don't put a front sight to get in the way. And both of them also have magazines that can have extensions on them. And luckily here I have a good comparison because for each of them I have a magazine that has just a small extension and then a larger pinky extension for both of them. Now let's first start by taking a small look at these firearms. Now this is the first SIG P365 I bought many years ago. Let's check it, make sure it's empty. And as you can see here, I have one magazine with a small pinky extension. And it actually does work for me relatively well. That small extension lets me get a really good grip on this pistol. I'm not a fan of the straight flush magazines. I know that that will help in carry conceal situations, but for me, having that small pinky extension really helps me control the pistol to the extent that it's just worth it for me to try to conceal it with that extension. And of course, this is the longer extension that makes the grip pretty much the size of a standard. Well, I mean, it's still a smaller grip compared to many 9mm, but it's still, it's so much larger that my hand pretty much grasps the whole thing. And that's the same for the Hellcat. The Hellcat comes with this smaller pinky extension firearm. Let's see here. And I'm sorry, pinky extension magazine. Let's put it into the firearm. Same thing with that smaller extension. My pinky does hold on to it pretty well. And then it has some of these larger extensions as well. That also, it's a little bit smaller than the P365 as far as the grip, a little bit shorter, but still I'm able to get a good grip on it. Now, one of the main differences you can see here are the trigger types. The Hellcat has the, well, I guess it's what's known or could be referred to as the Glock style trigger safety. That's got the extra little blade there that'll block the trigger from being pulled back unless this blade is pulled all the way flush with the trigger, versus the SIG that just basically has a normal, well, quote-unquote normal trigger there, although I know some of the models also have the flat trigger. As far as sights, this one comes with that larger front sight. I think it's called the SIG X-ray sight, if I remember correctly, and I like it a lot. That green dot in the front just really pops out, and it's easy to line up with these rear sights, so I really like that sight a lot. And as far as this particular Hellcat, well, as you can see, and this may be true for all Hellcats, they're already pre-cut for an RMR or some sort of red dot. It also seems to have the same similar type of dot in front. I'm not sure if this is a fire sight or not, but if you see that, it's got a big green dot, but the back is a U. So you basically put the dot inside the U and then, you know, aim right on top of the dot. So it's a different sight, although as is true with both of these pistols, you can change out the sights pretty easily, but this is what came on this particular one, and I like it as well. It's actually a relatively interesting sight system. I haven't seen that in a lot of the pistols. So what I'm going to do next is let's check their trigger weight, and then we'll check the resets on them as well. So let me pull out my trigger gauge. Just to make it easier for me to hold it, I'm going to go ahead and put a magazine in. I'm going to check it one more time. You can see it's empty. I'm going to put the larger magazine in, and let's try the SIG trigger and see what kind of weight we're getting on it. 7 pounds, 8.7 ounces. That seems a little more than I thought it would be. Let's try that again. 6 pounds, 4.0 ounces. Let's do it one more time. 6 pounds, 6.3 ounces. Yeah, so maybe that first one I didn't quite have it on the trigger well. Let's try one more. Seems like we're getting basically 6 pounds, 5.7 ounces. So yeah, just over 6 pounds on the SIG. Let's see now the Hellcat. See what kind of weight we get on its trigger. You can see there it's completely empty. And let me clear these out so we're getting new weights. Oof. It's a little bit thicker. If you can see there, it's kind of a thicker trigger, so I'm having a little more trouble getting the Wheeler trigger gauge in there, but there we go. So let's get the first shot. Oh, I'm not sure this trigger gauge is going to do a good job pushing that blade down. Let me see. If I can put it here on the table, it might help. No, I don't think I'm going to be able to do it because I can't hold that blade down with this trigger gauge. Well, that's unfortunate. I really would have liked to get you a weight on this particular trigger, but unless I put a little tape or something on that front little blade, there's no way I'm going to be able to use this trigger gauge to check that out. But I mean, if I'm having to feel it, yeah, I mean, it's a little heavier than the SIG. It is a little heavier than the SIG, but not a lot. Yeah, but the SIG is a lighter trigger, so I'd expect maybe this one is closer to 7 pounds. Now, before I shoot them, last thing we're going to do is check, I guess, the reset on both of these. That's important to some people. But, so, as far as pulling the trigger, the SIG, you can see that doesn't have a lot of travel. The reset is real quick. And then once you got it on the reset, travels a little bit. Yeah, it's a nice trigger. I mean, I will say that about the SIG P365s. They have really nice trigger. Look at that. You hear that reset? Yeah, it's very, very short travel. And then on the Hellcat, let's see here. So pull the blade in, comes to a stop. It's not really doing any travel. A little bit of travel there, then it breaks. As far as the reset, it's a pretty short reset as well. And then it has a little tiny bit of travel, it breaks as well. So they both have very short resets. You can hear it there, a little bit of travel, and then it breaks. They both have nice triggers. They both break relatively crisp. As I expect, it's really going to probably come down to personal preference when it comes to these two pistols. But now what I'm going to do, and this is slightly unfair because obviously I have a lot more experience shooting this pistol than this pistol, although I have fired a couple of magazines through this one. I'm going to set up a target and I'm going to take some resting shots with this bag I have over here on the left at a target. You know, I'm going to put it about 15 yards away and see how well I group both of these pistols, and then after that I'll just do some freehand shooting at steel and see which one I control better. Well, I just took the distance. We're actually right at, well, right under 20 yards here. It's very, very windy, so hopefully I can get these shots off before my target stand falls down. But I'm going to start with the SIG and I'm going to shoot it at the left target. Fix my glasses, sorry. And that's 10 rounds. And I'm using Blazer brass, so you know, not the best ammunition, but decent for target shooting. And now let's try. Ooh, it's getting windy. Don't knock my target down. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna try the Hellcat now, and we're gonna shoot it at the right target. Okay, that's 10 rounds. Let me go take a look at the targets. So I'm waiting for the wind to pass. I actually grouped the Hellcat a lot better. It seemed to have a nice tight little group there. It was hitting higher. I was on both of them. I aimed right at the center of the red target. So this one was hitting a little bit higher, but nice grouping there. I did feel like I was getting a little trigger slap. My finger really felt like it was getting a little bit of sting there between some shots, but other than that, it was hitting very well. On the SIG, I was hitting more on target because that's almost exactly where I was aiming, right here at the center of the target, but it didn't group quite as well. I seem to have a larger area there. Well, I mean, the two furthest away on the Hellcat are these two, and the two furthest away, let's see here, on the SIG are probably these two. So even though I tended to group some tighter here, I had more variance between shots. Here they didn't group as tight, but the variance was shorter. So take that for what it's worth. You know, at 20 yards, even though my hands were resting, that's not bad for a micro compact 9mm. If you practice with either of these for a good amount of time, you'll be able to tighten the groups, and you know, once you figure out where your point of impact is, you know, as opposed to your point of aim. But anyway, since this wind is really knocking me around, let's go ahead and shoot some steel. Okay, it's starting to mist a little harder. I'm hoping I don't have mist on my camera lens. So I'm going to start with the 365. I'm going to use the bigger grip extension on both of the firearms just to see how well I shoot with them. I'm going to try to do double taps to the center and then hit each plate slowly after that. So let's see what let's see how well this does. Oh, that's it. You know what? I have one more round in my pocket, just because I want to try to hit that small plate one more time. So I'm loading one straight in, and hopefully I won't embarrassingly miss. Yay! Okay, there we go. So let's try the Hellcat. And now we're going to try that with the Hellcat, using the same larger finger extension. Let me go ahead and get it loaded. There we go. I will say that I don't think my buddy has shot as much through this Hellcat as I have through my 365. I'm not certain about that. I will say that the Hellcat, their magazines seem a little stiffer, but that might just be me. But let's see how I shoot the Hellcat. Oh, let's get it. Let's get it. Oh, come on. We can get it. Oh, didn't stay open on the last round. Well, about the same. I will say, just for me, I think the Hellcat feels a little snappier. And I don't know if that's because I don't have as much experience shooting it. But as you can see, I shot the 350, the pig. I shot the SIG 365 a lot better, but I have more experience with it. So take that for what it's worth. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a fun shoot, and that is saying something. I really did enjoy shooting both of these Micro 9s. It used to be back in the day, any self-defense pistol that was a small carry concealed pistol isn't something that was very comfortable, and something that people wouldn't consider a range toy, you know, something that you'd take out to the range to shoot just for fun. But these Micro 9s have gotten to the point that they're very, very comfortable and a lot of fun to shoot. I have to thank my friend for letting me shoot his Hellcat. I mean, both are great pistols. My preference is still with the SIG, but, you know, that's an unfair preference. I've shot this a lot more. It feels more comfortable in my hand. And if you're considering both of these, my advice would be go to a gun store, feel them in your hands. The grips are similar in size, but their texture is a little different. The shape's a little different. So one might feel better for you than the other. And if you have the ability to go to somewhere, a range, if you have a friend that owns these firearms or a range that rents these firearms, try to get the opportunity to put some rounds through it. See which one feels better in your hand, because at the end of the day, that's when you're going to shoot better. And you have to practice with these type of firearms. If you want to hit on target, if you want to know where your point of impact is versus your point of aim, depending on what ammunition you're using, you got to take it out and practice. But a lot of fun. As always, thanks for joining me. I appreciate all your support. I very, very much do. And hopefully the next shooting session will have some nicer weather. But until then, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.